del BIM en empresas de tamaño medio grande y especialmente también en clientes que son promotores tanto público como privado. También doy clases, soy profesor de la Universidad Politécnica de Cataluña, desde la que dirijo un máster sobre BIM Management Steering. Les quería contar que... sí, dime. Yeah, maybe, but with some difficulty. Maybe. Okay. I'll tell... well, I suppose that it's not necessary to repeat, or yes, maybe? Okay. Emilio Coloma, I am a consultant and a lecturer from Universitat Politécnica de Catalunya. Okay? And in my activity, I have spent a lot of time in different occupations, but most of them are related in some key points. One of them is how to educate in collaboration, because it's quite easy to communicate to other persons that they must collaborate, but it's very difficult to engage to organize methodologies of training that make people learn how to collaborate. This is a constant in my profession. The other constant is how we can educate all the chain value. This is from the top, from the owner, to the lowest chain. I am speaking about the operators, the constructors, and so on. And the other key point, especially when you work with an owner, is how can you assure that the people that are you going to contact is really capacitated, is really prepared to do the project by a collaboration way. This is if they have enough skills about BIM, but especially about collaboration, and they understand perfectly what are you expected to do. And for asking these questions, and maybe a lot more, we have the honor of having here three specialists in different ways. That they are David Komiski, Rosa Maria Capdevila, and Emmanuel Nasif, and so on. We are going to start with first one, that is David Komiski. Thank you very much.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I will try and remember to speak slowly so that everyone can understand me. My name is David Komiski. I am a chartered architectural technologist, and I'm also a senior lecturer in architectural technology at Ulster University. I suppose in terms of my own background, I undertook a master's in BIM and integrated design, and I'm also currently studying a PhD in a related BIM accessible universal design subject area. So that's my background and where I'm coming from. What I'm going to present this evening is really the approach at my own university from an architectural technology or an architectural technologist perspective on BIM education, on collaboration, on collaborative practice, and just really provide a case study of what we have done, of what has worked well, and provide some feedback on that, and hopefully get some thoughts and comments and insight. I suppose it's useful to point out there's a lot of talk, and the UK BIM policy is well known and widely known, but within the UK, the devolved regions, so Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, all have their own implementation or are in the process of developing their own implementation policies. So I think it's from that background that we decided something needed to be done in terms of how we teach students. A move away from the individual or silo-based approach where every discipline area teaches their own sector specifically, to a more collaborative process, embracing all the different disciplines and integrated teams and trying to deliver in that way. So that's really what I'm going to try and do and approach today. In terms of my own discipline area, I am an architectural technologist, as I said, and I suppose architectural technology deals, as the name suggests, with the technical side of architecture. So how buildings go together, yes, how they're designed, but how their details, material selection, law and contracts management, so a range of different aspects. And we would see that profession as key to BIM implementation, because the students would have the design flair and approach, but as well as that, the management and the technical side of things. So that's my background on where I'm approaching it from. In terms of the UK and how we, or in this case study, how we approach the design and the delivery of BIM modules is really by taking a holistic approach. So in the UK, there are subject benchmark statements for different discipline areas. So there's architectural technology, there's one for surveying, one for general construction, architecture, etc. And these statements, they're useful for academics in that they, I suppose, help shape the module or the course content, but also for employers. The employers can look at these and see what sort of skills a graduate would be expected to have from these programs. So when we're designing modules or even anything to do with BIM, we would always pay close attention to documents like this. And the particular one for architectural technology is interesting in that it's forward thinking. I've highlighted some of the key terms here where it talks about it doesn't sit in isolation, but it's part of a wider academic domain. So there's the collaborative aspect there. It talks about the rapidly changing industry, about integrated teams, about the use of ICT and modelling technologies. So I think that document, certainly from our perspective, is very good. It's forward thinking and it's promoting that collaborative ethos. We would also make reference to the work of the BIM Academic Forum. I don't know, some of you may be familiar with the BIM Academic Forum in the UK, but essentially it's a network of academics from all around the UK and from the Republic of Ireland as well, all with an interest in BIM and BIM delivery and maybe changing how things are done in universities. And over the last number of years, I suppose this forum was developed to try and promote BIM implementation in different discipline areas. So they've published a number of very useful guidance documents and publications that really assist academics when they are delivering and designing modules. So what content could be included in a BIM module for a first year, a level 1 student, for a level 2 student, for a level 3 student or a final year student. So this is what we would use to help shape our design too. And finally, at my own institution, Ulster University, there's a big emphasis on student employability. So anything we design has to be with that end goal in sight of the students actually graduating and getting a job and having the skill set necessary to go out and work, in this case in a BIM related role. So I'll show a couple of examples of the type of work we are involved in, but I think from my own perspective, these are some of the key things that I would take on board whenever we're designing modules or thinking about BIM delivery, certainly from the architectural technology perspective. So it's certainly about using technology to inform the design process. It's about the performance-based design. So yes, a building has to look good aesthetically, but can it perform? Will it last for 30 years? What materials are going to be selected? Is it in the right orientation on the site? Solar analysis, daylighting factors, those sorts of things are key when we are looking at the student projects. Integrated teams, so that collaborative approach and collaborative delivery. Graduates with the skill set, so educating them in a way that they have the skill set to go and adapt and change when necessary in the industry. And again, just aligning with the changing construction landscape and giving them the skill sets necessary to hopefully lead and strive in that. So going through some of the work we do at Ulster University, both on the architectural technology programme and numerous other programmes. So starting off in year 1, level 4. So we have numerous different construction related programmes at the university, and they each would have their own content and own modules. But recently a colleague of mine, who's also here today, developed a common module for a number of year 1 discipline areas that you can see on the screen. So quantity surveying, architectural technology, construction engineering and management, and architectural engineering and energy courses. So the idea behind this was to bring in that collaborative ethos right from the outset of their university experience. So the students are provided with a design brief. They're given a building plot on a site where there's numerous different plots. They are given a set of essentially employers' information requirements, so a design brief that they have to work to. And then they're put into teams and they have to work collaboratively to deliver the end goal of designing a building and then presenting that and justifying their design. Everything we do is very much aligned or tries to align to the level 2 delivery process in the UK. So things like employers, or the BIM execution plan, you can see there the students are expected at year 1, at level 1, it's a very basic understanding. But to think about things like how they're going to deliver the model, what file formats, naming conventions, file structures, that type of thing, they need to think about. They're also required to keep minutes of meetings to show they've actually went and met up and collaborated on what they've agreed between themselves, what they're going to deliver. We have created a simulated common data environment for the students as well. So this is based on our own in-house Blackboard platform that we use to share learning and teaching material with the students. That has been adopted to act as a type of common data environment. So the students have to share everything online. They have to use their work in progress folders. They have to think about naming conventions, and everything that they do is put up there, and what's in that area is what's assessed. So it's at the very early stages, getting them to think in that collaborative way about naming things correctly and about thinking and planning ahead. Now, it doesn't always go to plan. There's numerous mistakes and things are named wrong, but it's just trying to promote that earlier on. In terms of the actual projects at year 1, just some examples on the screen. So the architectural design students would use the technology-informed approach. So even in Revit as the authoring tool, do basic daylighting analysis, conceptual design analysis, model the actual site and the buildings around it to make sure there's no overshading at certain times of the days, that type of thing. We would also use Green Building Studio to run basic massing analysis at a very early stage to get approximate costs, sustainability values, and it's using that to inform their design process. This is very approximate at that stage, but it's suitable for the task in hand. And then over on the right hand side of the screen, an example of a finished integrated team presentation. So you have contributions from the entire design team, and it really tells the story of their approach right from the outset, from the site selection, from thinking about health and safety, thinking about the delivery of materials, right through to the design, thinking about the cost of the project and how that was developed, building service integration. So it tells the story in that collaborative way. So generally that's something that's been introduced at year 1 over the last couple of years. And there are problems undoubtedly, but it's just about getting that collaborative mentality and driving that forward. In terms of level 5 or year 2, I think that is developed and in particular on the architectural technology, quantity surveying and civil engineering courses, where again the students would collaborate. They have a different project each year. In this case it was a community type centre or a church hall extension, and they use different platforms, so Revit, Navisworks, BIM Measure, MasterSeries, which is a structural analysis type software, and again common data environments. We've used ASite, we've used Autodesk A360 as a loose common data environment as well, just to promote that collaborative mentality. We also undertook work with Penn State University in the United States to get that international collaboration and long distance working, and to try and promote that in the students as well. Some other images here, so cost estimates that were produced as part of that project, simulated construction programs, and Navisworks as well for the visual aspect, and Autodesk A360 where they're marking up the model, querying each other and trying to derive more information if that's needed. So it follows through into the final year, into level 6, where the students are more independent. They should have learned from this experience, and again they're taking all that on board, those approaches on board, when they're designing some of their final projects. So it's all evidence-based, it's all technology enhanced, and trying to be smart about what they're delivering. I suppose with the BIM process you can get some nice visual images, so this is just a few example type projects that the students have been working on. QR codes, three-dimensional sections, active facades, that type of thing. They're starting to evolve and develop their skills and their BIM skills and taking that forward. So that gives a bit of an approach of where we are coming from the university perspective. And just into the last few minutes here, so just wanted to mention on what we're trying to do to try and promote the construction industry, digital construction, BIM to the next generation. So myself, a colleague that's sitting in the audience, and another individual have developed a BIMcraft initiative. Some of you may have heard of it. And it's really based on the Minecraft platform, but tailored to more construction, to the construction industry, to the construction process. So we've developed a book which is a teacher's guide to explain what BIM is, what the different disciplines are, and then changed the game slightly so the kids have to think about placing foundations before they build a wall. They have to think about sustainability. They have to think about structural aspects in the build. If they build the wall too high or without foundations, it will fall over. There's thermometer tools in the game, so depending on what type of wall insulation the kids use, you will get a different temperature reading inside the building. It's linked to health and safety aspects as well. So that's how we're trying to promote BIM, digital construction, to the next generation. We did do a presentation on this yesterday in a BIM for Students event, which was well received. So if anybody would like to talk more about it, feel free to approach me, and would love to hear you. Would love to try and implement this in Spain or in Barcelona if anybody would like to work with us. And really, just in closing, in the last slide, we have produced quite a bit of work, publications, research papers on our approach to BIM delivery, to collaborative working. So these slides will be made available, and this is really just a bit of a reference point to let you see where and how you can access those. And also some successes. I suppose the key test on how we are performing is our graduates getting roles? Are they getting roles in the industry in BIM related tasks? And the answer is yes. Where our students are highly sought after. You can see here some images relating to Build Earth Live competition that our students were involved in, that some of myself and our academic colleagues were involved in. And I think that's a recognition of those types of prizes, those types of awards, that we're actually doing something right. And from our own perspective as academics, it's enjoyable to work collaboratively, getting out of the individual silo-based approach, working with others, sharing different thoughts, ideas, working together, and it's been an enjoyable process from our perspective. So I think that alarm was me being told that my time's up. So I think we'll leave it there, and if anybody would like to chat individually afterwards, we'd be delighted to talk to you. Thank you.
Buenas tardes a todo el mundo. Soy Rosa María Capdevila, soy arquitecta y profesora de Edificación y Obra Civil en el Instituto Provençana, el Hospitalet del Llobregat. Sorry, I don't feel confident enough to do my speech in English. Bueno, yo les voy a explicar un poco la evolución que hemos hecho desde la formación profesional, desde los inicios antes de la crisis, cómo nos ha afectado la crisis económica en nuestro sector y lo que hemos hecho nosotros para adaptarnos. Bien, nosotros en las épocas del boom de la construcción en España teníamos lleno de alumnos que querían hacer delineación. Ya saben ustedes que a partir del 2008 esto cayó en picado. Tuvimos una crisis de vocaciones increíble, bajada de matrícula, y en un par de años vimos que nos quedamos sin alumnos y casi sin trabajo. Entonces, lo que hicimos nuestro departamento fue pedir a la Generalitat de Cataluña hacer una adaptación curricular, porque veíamos que el sector estaba, lo poco que se movía hacia la restauración y la rehabilitación, con lo cual pedimos a la Generalitat hacer una modificación en el currículum para adaptarnos a esta posible salida profesional de nuestros alumnos. Bueno, no sé, supongo que se pueden imaginar que modificar un currículum oficial es pesado, es largo, no es corto. Tardamos un año largo en conseguirlo. Lo hicimos a través de visitar muchas empresas, pedir información de qué es lo que necesitaban. Visitamos empresas, visitamos el Colegio de Aparejadores, colegios de arquitectos, empresas de distinto calibre, porque nosotros hacemos edificación y obra civil. Y obra civil, evidentemente, nos pasaba 3/4 de lo mismo. Con lo cual, el de proyectos de edificación conseguimos hacer una modificación curricular para un perfil de restauración y rehabilitación, y el de obra civil orientarlo hacia el SIC, los sistemas de información geográfico, que veíamos que también era un sector aquí que faltaba, bueno, que estaba emergiendo, ¿no? Bien, les voy a explicar, me voy a centrar más en el de proyectos de edificación y rehabilitación, porque el de SIC se escapa un poco de lo que estamos tratando en este summit. Entonces, nosotros básicamente lo que hicimos, tenemos el sistema de organización del currículum en España es relativamente rígido. Tienes unas horas mínimas que tienes que dar en un contenido curricular que nos marca el Ministerio. Luego la Generalitat tiene un pequeño margen de maniobra y luego cada centro tiene un pequeño pool de horas que también puede mover. Entonces, en este sentido, nosotros hicimos la adaptación, que tal como me los voy a explicar ahora, cogíamos unas horas, estas que están pintadas en color rosa, son unas horas que añadimos nosotros, que básicamente son de más procesos constructivos y de más horas de restauración y rehabilitación que no estaban en el currículum de proyectos de edificación. De modo que conseguíamos tener más horas de construcción. ¿Por qué? Pues porque considerábamos que si nos íbamos a dedicar a la restauración y la rehabilitación necesitamos más horas de conocimientos de construcción. A partir de aquí organizamos este currículum y además implantamos, en su momento ya evidentemente ya trabajamos con AutoCAD, que era la herramienta que teníamos en esos momentos, y ya como ya se empezaba a deslumbrar la importancia del BIM, ya empezamos a trabajar con algunos programas. En su momento empezamos con el programa Allplan por dos razones. La primera, porque era la única plataforma que en el 2012 nos daba las licencias gratuitas, o 2010, 2011, 2012, gratuitas, que para nosotros un centro público era imprescindible. Y por otro lado, porque en el Colegio de Arquitectos estaban empezando con este programa. La verdad es que a nosotros nos gustaba bastante, pero estos últimos años nos hemos dado cuenta que las empresas que nos vienen a solicitar alumnos nos piden todos que sepan Revit. Con lo cual, este año estamos formándonos en el programa Revit para poco a poco hacer la migración al programa Revit. Bien, aquí tenéis los distintos programas con los que trabajamos, con CIPE, con CIPE-MEP, con el Allplan para migrar a Revit. También trabajamos con otros programas tipo TCQ. El TCQ nuevo ahora vamos a implementarlo este año que viene, este curso que viene, este TCQ que ya va asociado con el BIM. Pero para mí lo más importante de todo esto que estamos haciendo es que hemos modificado también la forma de trabajar. No solamente hacer modificaciones curriculares, y además implementar unos programas, sino cómo trabajamos. Y trabajamos de un modo colaborativo. ¿Qué quiere decir esto? Bueno, pues también hacemos un proceso. El primer curso, nosotros el ciclo formativo, no lo he dicho antes, disculpen, es de 2 cursos. El primer curso hacemos un poco lo que llamamos la docencia colaborativa. ¿Qué quiere decir? Quiere decir que utilizamos de la asignatura de proyectos de primero, que es el módulo 10, luego este proyecto les hacemos calcular las instalaciones y luego les hacemos hacer la eficiencia energética. Y esto los distintos profesores usan el mismo proyecto, de modo que ellos se sienten mucho más involucrados en este ejercicio y en primero. Donde viene también la novedad para nosotros, que nos está dando muy buenos resultados, es el segundo curso, que no solamente hacemos la docencia colaborativa con los proyectos transversales, sino que además hacemos el aprendizaje colaborativo y simulamos un despacho de arquitectura. Les hacemos diseñar incluso los logos, aquí tenéis una muestra de estos logos, y entonces trabajamos en base a un proyecto y ellos deciden poco a poco hacia dónde va el diseño. Evidentemente tutelados por el profesor, todos somos arquitectos, con lo cual pues bueno, van bastante bien dirigidos. Tenemos la suerte que, ahora les voy a mostrar unos ejemplos de ejercicios que hemos realizado, que estamos trabajando con unas ONGs que nos están encargando proyectos, con lo cual esto es fantástico porque tenemos un cliente, tenemos un proyecto con el que trabajar y además luego los alumnos lo explican. El primer proyecto que os voy a mostrar así, en plan pincelada, es una escuela que nos encargaron para hacer en el Senegal. La segunda que les mostraré es la rehabilitación que hicimos de nuestro instituto, que hicimos una rehabilitación integral de todo el tema de eficiencia energética. Y el tercero fue la rehabilitación integral de los usos. Entonces veréis en la parte inferior, claro, esto no lo hacemos en un año, lo hacemos en un par de años. De modo que en primero ven unas cosas y en segundo ven unas otras. Bueno, les paso lo primero. Bueno, aquí les tengo mostrado un poco el proyecto. En cada uno de los proyectos, en cada uno de los módulos, ¿qué es lo que realizamos? Porque claro, nosotros tenemos un módulo de proyectos, un módulo de modelización, un módulo de mediciones. Disculpen, es que estoy un poco resfriada. Un módulo de mediciones. Entonces, los distintos módulos los vamos trabajando en base a este proyecto y a la derecha veis un poco las herramientas con las que trabajamos. Ups. No me pasa el full.
Sí.
No pasa el full. Bueno, aquí les mostrar un poco el resultado final de todo esto, ¿no? Aquí ven esto sería un poco el proyecto básico, donde se ven un poco las distribuciones, los alzados, etcétera. Las secciones, un poco de detalle constructivo, la modelización de los interiores. Aquí ya veis un poco más los detalles constructivos, las escaleras. Y llegamos al final hasta las estructuras y instalaciones, que esto hacemos con el CIPEMEP. Este segundo que os voy a mostrar así rápido, bueno, si tenéis alguna pregunta, por favor, me interrumpís. Este segundo proyecto era el de la rehabilitación integral del instituto. Esto fue un encargo que nos hizo el director de la escuela y evidentemente aceptamos encantados. Es un poco Hicimos también todo el estudio de los distintos materiales, cómo podíamos hacerlo, porque es un edificio de los años 60 y desde luego, desde el punto de vista de eficiencia energética, es un desastre. Y bueno, hicimos un estudio muy importante de los materiales, de las fachadas, los detalles constructivos y bueno, y los renderizados, que estos se han hecho todos con Allplan. Perdón. Y estos son unos dibujos de cómo sería el interior, porque remodelamos todo el interior del edificio, redistribuyendo todos los espacios. Y ahora este último proyecto con el que estamos empezando a trabajar este año es un encargo que nos han hecho también desde la misma ONG con el que hicimos el proyecto de Senegal, de hacer viviendas con containers en Túnez. No tengo imágenes para mostrarles porque todavía está en el horno, pero bueno, este sería un poco, para un poco lo que veáis a la derecha, el programario que ya tenemos previsto, de hacerlo ya casi todo en Revit, porque por lo que os comentaba antes, ¿no? Que el mercado laboral es lo que nos está pidiendo y ya está. Una de las cosas que sí que me gustaría que quedaran claras, bueno, explicarlos, que es que aunque nosotros estamos trabajando muchísimo, tanto el grupo de profesores como la administración que nos está apoyando, uno de los problemas fundamentales que tenemos en estos momentos es que tenemos empresas, bastantes, que nos vienen a buscar alumnos y no tenemos. No tenemos suficientes vocaciones en estos momentos para la alineación. Otra cosa que quería comentarles es que tenemos la suerte también de tener los alumnos de grado medio, que son los de obras de construcción, y este año próximo una de las cosas que queríamos hacer es empezar también a colaborar con ellos para trabajar colaborativamente, desde oficina, para entendernos, de proyectos, a directamente los trabajadores de la construcción, de modo que ellos mismos también puedan sentirse que forman parte de toda la cadena de la edificación. Muchas gracias por escucharme.
I will try to do it in English. Everything is prepared in Spanish. I will transfer in English. So, I'm Emmanuel Nachis. I'm head of lifelong learning education system in Paris, on a engineering school in Paris. And here I'm representative of member of network EduBeam. What is EduBeam? It's a network of education and research development program associated different university, company to try to imagine what could be the best way to learn BEAM system inside initial program and continuous program. The next session will be done earlier in July in Paris. If you want to join us, you're welcome. When we are talking about BEAM, it's very easy to talk about BEAM when you are working inside BEAM. But the first question is how we can make an evaluation of the knowledge of BEAM. When we are talking about education, when we are talking about system, lifelong learning system for a person in charge of being inside the company, what could be the best way to make some evaluation? It could be an individual system, it could be the courses system, like we saw the first one, which will be the best way to create certification, labelization, or organization. What could be the best way to make some evaluation of the quality of the people involving inside the BEAM? What could be the real knowledge we need to work as a BEAM manager, BEAM coordinator, BEAM everything? And do we need to create new diplomas, or can we fix inside our existing diploma? And who can be able to make this evaluation? I don't know. Some question. Maybe you could help me to find the answer. The first step is to imagine how we can make this evaluation. It could be an auto-evaluation. I'm working as a BEAM manager for 10 years, and I was following the different steps of the BEAM system, so I know that I'm a good one. Nobody can say it if you are, but you know that by yourself. Or you can imagine that the owner who orders the works can say, okay, your project is really well managing, so you got the qualification. Or you can imagine to use national agency or certification agency to pass some exam. Or no recommendation, no qualification, you say, I'm not interested about BEAM, so you don't need anything. It's the same thing. What kind of qualification do we can imagine? Professional certification, creating a kind of marks, trade marks. You put the stamps, BEAM World or BEAM Summit or whatever. Accreditation of your institution. If you are working for an institution, we've got the accreditation. Should we transfer the accreditation to all the people inside the company, or do we need to pass individual qualification step by step? ¿Para quién? ¿Para una empresa? ¿Para una system de service, de products? If you if you are testing water, all the water coming from this industry is good. A system of production or individual person. Another question is when we have to make this certification. Do we need to have the certification before working as BIM manager? Do we need to start working and then today I say, okay, I've got enough experience, I'm qualified? Do we need to continuous flux to be sure that we start and we can imagine to say, okay, the first step is done, so I can do the second step, and step by step you learn by doing, or you never need to have a qualification because you're not interested about this kind of thing. As my colleague said, in each system, national system, have to improve the implementation of BIM. So it's a picture of the French system, the worst in the world. We've got university system, grandes écoles, great school for engineer system, architecture system, and all the time for initial system, as my colleague said, you can implement BIM knowledge inside each level. It's almost very simple because the new students, when they start on the first years, they don't know anything about anything in construction. They don't know how to make a plan, they don't know how to make an economic system, they don't know how to manage the construction. For them, they are free of everything. So they can be BIM native. It can be easier. We have to wait 10 years, and in 10 years they will be okay. For continuous education, for permanent learning, it's not the same thing. You've got your own experience, and you need to integrate a new system in your own experience. And it's not the same thing, because you have to compare your experience to other people, you have to find your experiences. So, including additional system, BIM, courses inside an initial system is not so difficult. But for permanent education, when you've got your profession, you've got your initial knowledge, when you finish your school, you've got your knowledge, you find your own experience working day by day, you add your experience, you've got your general cultures working. You got a lot of discussion with your colleagues, so you earn your experience, and each time you have to think differently between the way you have to do before, and you add BIM, and you have to change your mind, and you have to change your way of work, and you have to change by yourself, and including the general system where you are involved. So if we are talking about general continuing education, you start with your first system, initial program. You've got your basic knowledge and basic competence. And then you start your experience, and step by step you have to add few things. It could be for new software, it could be for new way to manage the system. You have to change the way of managing a project for many reasons. So the general curves of education and experience is very simple. When you start to work, you've got a lot of knowledge, but you don't have any experience. And when you start to work, years after years, your knowledge will go down because you forgot everything, but you start to raise the curve of experience. It's a normal system, and roughly in the middle of your career, it's your optimum period. You can be a manager, you can be director of services, you can do everything because you've got an equilibrium, a balance between your knowledge and your experience. Today, everything changed because I don't know if I can go there with, because you have to add new competencies, beam. When your curve is going down, you have to start again, to start a new system, to start to learn new system as if you are in the beginning of your career. So you have to change your mind, and it's not so easy. If you are interesting, you have to learn a lot. You have to learn new software, you have to learn new methodology, new management system, everything is new. So you have to inverse the natural curve of the working cycle. Yeah, at the end. So we have to think about three times: the short time, middle time, and long time. When we are looking about what's happened around the world, we got a lot of good experience in Canada, United States, Great Britain, España. Okay. We can see the general national legislation, or you can see if you've got some internal rules, like here Colegio de Ingeniero, Colegio de Arquitecta. You can imagine. In middle tier, you have to create a new way to earn the new knowledge. That means that you need to create new system of permanent education. You have to create kind of mark certification to be sure that you can share the same reference. And at the end, you have to create a new reference system. It's not so easy because time to change the law, you need a lot of time to do that, but the technology in the same time are changing twice, third time. You don't have the same balance. We decided to do something in France, very short. We are creating kind of ethics charter to start to initiate the program. And I'm really sure that we cannot do anything alone. We need to create a real international work network. This could be done in Europe, because if we are not able to share in Europe the same basic competencies, we cannot work together. And the purpose of the BIM is to be collaborative, is to share information. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sí, si os parece, tenemos todavía unos minutos para abrir un turno de preguntas. ¿Alguien quiere hacer alguna pregunta a los conferenciantes, a los ponentes? Any question to the speakers? Okay.
We have seen different scales of implementing BIM in education, and what I miss here, maybe in the case that you explained from Hospitalet, is maybe what kind of response did you have when you asked for more pupils? Now that you are in need of pupils, because now it seems that there is professional offer and demand, and what you are doing, this big effort that you are doing, I think it should be worth, and to have, I mean, it's I don't think that you have to look for the pupils. I think that this has to be done from your upper level, no, from your administration, because it's a pity that you don't have pupils even if you have a high demand, and compared to the strategy that we just listened now from France, I think something has to be done. There's still something to be done in our administration system, education administration. Thank you.
I completely agree with you. We feel so alone sometimes. We feel so alone sometimes in vocational training system. Yeah, we're like a poor sister of the education in this country. No.
It's very discouraging.
Yeah. Yes.
But we have to ask for improvement.
Yes.
We as professionals and you as educators.
Thank you. Okay.
Any question? No? I have a question. Several questions, in fact, but let's start with David, because you are the first one. Okay. I saw that apparently your curriculum, the curriculum that you explain it, it's very focused around the use of Revit, okay, and its related tools. How you thinking about the training, about the use of open formats to allow students in the future and in the present to use any kind of tool that they need?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I think from our university perspective, we are led by what the industry leader is or what the practices are using. So that's why we are primarily using Autodesk Revit products. But it's a valid point. The other thing is with our program, the third year is where the students would go out and work in industry for a year. So they need to have the skill set, and the majority of our practices, BIM related, would be using Revit software. So that's why we've made that decision. But in saying that, yes, open forums are essential because it shouldn't matter what platform you use. It's the collaborative process is the same. Mm-hmm. And even in some of the collaborative work we've been doing, using different platforms, the likes of Master Series, different quantity surveying or quantity takeoff programs, we have noticed issues. We have requested the students to use IFC format, just to get away from the Revit file format. Okay. So we're trying to address that where we can and use some other programs just to let them see the problems there can be as well with using those different platforms and them talking to each other. So it's something we're trying to address.
Okay, thank you very much. Any question more? No?
I think.
Yeah.
You said you feel like a bit all over. I think do sterling work in terms of.
Is there a microphone? A microphone, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No, it's for it's for his. Sorry. No, sorry. Yeah.
I think you're all doing sterling work. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. Gracias. In terms of what you've shown us today, I think you've done sterling work, so I don't think you should feel alone. Having spent 8 years as an academic, after, dare I say, 20 plus years in practice, trying to get students to use the digital methods of learning is really hard, especially in architecture, because you've got the pushback where people think that if you use electronic methods of exploration, that's going to take away from certain factors that are fundamental to design and the creative art. But I think that can actually benefit them because it allows students to explore the what-ifs of a design a lot earlier on. And if they can do that, it's a lot richer for it. So I think you've done commendable work.
Thank you very much. It seems that sometimes the administration prefer to put all its effort to other disciplines, like informatics or chemistry. I appreciate your words. Thank you.
No. Yeah, the microgram is here, so I can't resist. Only to ask, I don't know very well to whom, but how do you feel about this difference in teaching the knowledge, teaching the skills, the abilities, and integrating this BIM technology as a supporting tool in our engineering and architectural academic courses, and also who could teach this, because in our line of teaching there aren't people that are used to probably to study it, but to study it and to apply it as professionals. What can you say about this?
think from my perspective or our perspective, it's some very valid points, because you have people that are interested in digital technology and want to work in a collaborative way, the same as myself and my colleague, but we have other colleagues that aren't really interested. They want to just do things as they've always delivered them, and maybe they just haven't got the skill set, and they're maybe afraid to delve into that area. So it is an issue. How you deliver it. Is it through training? Those people will never probably feel comfortable. Is it taking in professionals from practice to train? So I think that it's still very much open to debate, and it depends on the institution. It depends on the knowledge base within that institution and what they can deliver and what has to be maybe taken in from outside. And one other point that you raised too, I should have mentioned, we do try and integrate the theory and practice, so as well as the actual software use, the different standards, the PASS standards in the UK, the British standards, those are all applied within the teaching. And on architectural technology, we have a theory element to the module where we look at different theoretical approaches and look at the standards that are required as well. So it's a sort of two-phased teaching method.
No? Okay, I only have a final question, maybe for Emmanuel. Have you think about to create a training material in order to give it to the schools to enable a transversal way to implement WIM? Because it's true, the main, or maybe one of the more difficult challenges is to have the opportunity of having this kind of knowledge for the lecturers, because it's difficult for them to learn anything, okay? But maybe if you develop a training material for all of them to be used for the lecturers as a tool to implement BIM in their own specialty, this will be more easy. How do you think about that or not? The possibility.
We haven't developed this kind of thing, but I was developing a applied master in English for professional reconversion, and the best way we find is, I'm not sure is the only one. All the lecturers are coming from professional sectors, so they are coming to teach their own system for everything, transport, mobility, energy, and so on. And each courses are done in a specific system. And we have created a common project for all students, 15 students each year, all students managing by a specialist of interdisciplinarity to manage the common project. That means that students receive some knowledge about a specialist, and then during the project, it's 6 month project, they are using the knowledge with another professor, making a global common project. And I'm not sure that you can be really involved in a project if you don't have all the different way to solve your problem. The problem is to manage a huge project. So you have to collaborate with your colleague, because alone you cannot do anything, and you have to go to speak with the individual professor because you need something. You are talking about exactly what you need. The problem is teachers don't know exactly why students are coming to ask this thing, specific point. And you need to be very confident inside the system, your education system, your colleague, to be sure that you give good information if you don't know why other people are using this information. It could be special.
Okay, so thank you very much. If there is not any question more, we are going to finish now, and let's see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.